In this video, I'll be covering exactly how to hit your first 10K month as an organic UGC creator. So if you're stuck with low-paying deals that pay you less than $3,000 per month, or you don't know where to find deals in the first place, this video is for you. I'll also be breaking down how I hit my first 10K month as an organic Tech UGC creator in 45 days, and I'll be giving you an actionable plan so you can hit it as well. This video is broken down into 10 sections. So if you're a beginner, I highly recommend you watch the entire thing. But if you're more of an intermediate or an advanced creator, just skip to the section that you feel will benefit you the most. All right, so enough talking. Let's jump into the actual video. All right, so welcome to my full intro on how to break into organic Tech UGC. This video will be covering 10 sections, and this includes what is organic Tech UGC, mindset, how to film an actual UGC video, building out your portfolio, doing outreach and landing brand deals, how to get views and go viral, scaling your income, getting inbounds and developing your personal brand, also common problems in FAQ, and also an actual actionable roadmap for you to hit your first 10K month. Without further ado, let's get into it. Firstly, I just want to cover these kind of 4 definitions, which I'll be referencing and which are very helpful to know. Firstly, you can make 5 or 10K a month with UGC, even if you have 0 followers, 0 experience, and you're starting from complete scratch. And how do I know this? Well, it's because I hit my first 10K month with UGC within 45 days of starting. Isn't that crazy? What other job allows you to hit a 10K month, allows you to make 6 figures a year within 45 days of starting it? Granted, I had some experience with social media and talking head, but still, it's entirely possible for you to do the same within 45 days, or maybe more like realistically 90 days if you're putting your all into this. Also, what does 5 to 10K a month actually look like day to day with organic Tech UGC? Well, for me, it looks like working with 2 or 3 companies. I post 1 to 3 times a day per each company. And on average, I work 1 to 2 hours a day from my phone on my UGC sort of side of revenue. Also, when you first start out, you can expect to maybe work 3 to 4 hours a day. But as you become better and you kind of make your systems more efficient, it's very, very simple to work only 1 to 2 hours a day. Also, like how do I actually make my money from UGC? Well, UGC is one of my revenue channels for making money, and I make 8 to 10K a month by working for basically 3 companies. The first company I work for is JobBright. They pay me $900 a month base. I post 30 videos for them and they pay me $30 per video. I also work for the Good Marketing Company. They pay me $30 per video and I post 60 times for them a month, or I have the option to post 60 times for them per month. Also, I do coaching for this app called Claims. They pay me $3,000 per month and I just do coaching for them. I wouldn't expect for you to get a position like this immediately, but given a few months, it's very, very realistic for you to land a position like this. Also, for some perspective, 9 months ago, I was literally making $17 an hour at McDonald's, but now I'm making 8 to 10K per month from UGC consistently at 17. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, within 9 months, I completely changed my life. And actually it was like more like 45 days. So without further ado, let's kind of get into the sections. Firstly, what is organic Tech UGC? Well, UGC stands for user-generated content. Brands pay regular people to make short videos promoting their products. I focus mostly on organic Tech UGC on my channel. And the reason being is I don't really like paid ads or lifestyle brands and beauty influencer stuff. I really like tech companies. The reason why is because right now they're hiring always, they pay a lot, and they generally come to you. With paid ads and lifestyle brands and beauty influencer stuff, I know you can make like $500 or $1,000 guaranteed for one video, but it requires for you to be like actually very, very skilled with making videos. You have to be doing a lot of outreach, and having a big personal brand is pretty important to actually like consistently land deals. And what does like a typical organic UGC video look like? Well, generally they're kind of characterized with like the stereotypical kind of ABG cutting fruit, saying something like outrageous. Also, you might see like some sort of share bait video where it's like top 3 best classes, and the guy will rank the best classes, and then before the last class he'll say some sort of product. Also, when you see these accounts like this, where it's like Clever Nikolai or Study with Nikolai, this is like a typical UGC account. In the bio, they usually have like Try Cluely or Try Turbo AI or Building Turbo AI. That's a very standard UGC account. Why do brands pay for UGC? Well, it's very simple. It's because they make a lot of money on UGC. And let me elaborate on this. So let's say you're a brand, you're a tech company, and you want people to use your app. You have a few options for getting them to use your app. Number one, you can pay, well, there's many, but the 2 main ones are, you can pay for ads. Ads generally cost anywhere from $10 to $100 per 1,000 views, whether you're using Meta ads or Spark ads, which is like the TikTok ads. Or you can use UGC. And UGC, at least a well-run program, costs $1 per 1,000 views. That is ridiculous. We will anticipate that as the market shifts, this will go up. But right now, there's just such a gap in the market between organic content and traditional ads. So, you're really doing yourself a disservice as a company if you're not at least testing out UGC. Also, why do actually companies, especially AI companies, really care about like UGC and just marketing in general? Well, I'll give you like a very specific example. It's because software was eaten by AI. What do I mean by this? Naval, he's a very famous tech billionaire, and he tweeted this very famously about 2 weeks ago as of recording this video, and it got 100 million views. So what does this mean? Well, the moat around making a software product is gone. What does that mean? Well, I can code basically any app or any like decently simple product within a weekend. If it's like somewhat complicated, I could probably hire a team of devs and do it over 2 weeks, give me like $50,000. I could make a probably better product. And what does this mean for us? Well, the only thing that differentiates, Turbo AI, a $200 million company, and Turbo.clone that I made over the weekend is the amount of users they have and how they get those users. So Turbo AI, let's look at their website. This is not a complicated website. Their website, their tools are probably somewhat complicated now that they've developed, but it's really like, it's not that hard. It's really just like a ChatGPT wrapper, if you kind of know what that is. So why are they valued at $200 million? Well, it's because they know how to acquire users really well. They have a good moat around their product. And the moat is they have a good community. They have like 5 million people on the app. So why does this matter for you? Well, a viral creator can earn $500 or $1,000 per video. And the reason being is because you are the moat for the company. So they're obviously gonna pay you a lot. What do I mean by this? Let's say you get 1 million views for a company. They'll pay you $1,000 for that, let's say. For those 1 million views, it's very likely that at least 100 people that saw that video will download the app. And let's say Turbo, every person that pays for the app, passes the paywall, does all the trials, is worth $100 for them. So let's say you get them 100 paying users. 100 users times $100, that's about $10,000. So obviously Turbo AI has no problem paying you just a measly $1,000 for delivering them $10,000 of value. And now, how do these deals actually look like? Well, generally there's 3 when you're working with tech companies. There's retainer deals where you post, let's say, 1 video per day. So that's like 30 videos per month for one brand. There's a guaranteed monthly income. So for example, JobRite, one of the companies I work for, they pay me $30 per video. So if I post every day, that's a guaranteed $900 USD. But because, every, let's say, 5th video goes viral, that probably averages out to $2,000 or $3,000 per month from that company. Also, there's one-off deals, and this kind of goes into the paid ads category, which is why I'm not really a big fan of it, because although they do pay a lot, you kind of need a big personal brand, you have to be doing a lot of outreach, but yes, that's true. They can pay you like $300 or $500 per video guaranteed. Also, there's coaching deals. So this requires you to be like a bit of a seasoned UGC vet. Like I'm offered coaching deals from time to time, and they do pay pretty well. And the reason why people take them is because, filming UGC videos every day is like a lot of work. But coaching is more passive. You just like reply on Discord. You give people actionable feedback during calls. It's definitely a lot less friction to be a coach. So let's look at a typical payment chart. This is a good payment chart like from Cluely. You see for a typical video, they pay $35. If you get more views, they pay you more. So I guess the target I was wanting to hit when I was working for them was 50,000 views, because 50,000 views is $150. So, that's a good amount of money. Let's look at some good deals. So a good deal typically pays $20 per video and gives you a $1 CPM. What does CPM stand for? CPM means cost per milli. That's about how much they pay you per 1,000 views. So I want a company to pay me at least $20 per video and at least $1 for every 1,000 views I deliver. Also, I want coaching. Why do I want coaching? Well, it's because, you can be chasing money in the short term, and, you don't really need coaching, I guess, in that case. But if you want to make this into a medium or long-term play, coaching is really good because you want to compound your skills as a creator. Also, you want clear expectations. Why do you want clear expectations? Well, it's because some companies, they don't really know how to run a campaign, and that's not their fault. UGC is a pretty new field, so they don't really know how to give their creators direction. And the reason why I say this is because companies that I work for that have excellent direction and expectations, they send out 10 viral videos every week, and they're like, recreate these. And I know that at least one of them will go viral if I copy them, because the coach that sent them in is extremely qualified and knows what they're talking about. Also, I want a max payout of $1,000 per video. And why do I say this? Well, let's say a company's like, oh yeah, we pay $20 per video and we give a $1 CPM. I'm like, oh wow, that's a great company. Then they're like, oh, we cap the payout at 50,000 views. Well, that's a bit shady. You can deliver them 10 million views and they'll only give you $70, which is like a bit ridiculous, right? So you want max payouts of at least $1,000 per video. I'd settle for 500, but ideally 1,000, 2,000 plus. Let's look at a bad deal. So a bad deal pays $15 per video or less. There's no CPM, so there's no like view bonus. They don't pay you for every 1,000 views you deliver. There's no coaching, and there's vague expectations, and there's a cap on earnings. So under $15 per video. The only caveat I'll give is I would take a deal like this if the CPM is really good. So if the company pays me $3 or $4 per 1,000 views, then I would be like, okay, maybe I would work for you guys, just because the CPM is just so high. Also coaching. Again, if you want money in the short term, coaching is not that important, but if you want this to be a medium or long-term play, you want to actually develop your skills as a creator, then I highly recommend you get coaching. Because coaching for me has been the highest ROI thing I've been doing, because now I know how to make videos go consistently viral. Vague expectations, like I mentioned before, if you don't really know what videos to post and you're doing a lot of the heavy lifting with research, I guess that's fine. But if you want a frictionless job that is easier to kind of commit to, then I would want them to give me some sort of document that explains which videos I should be copying. And like I mentioned before, a cap on earnings. Obviously, you don't want them to be capping your earnings at $70 per video. Now let's look at a case study. So when we talk about organic UGC, I started in October, and in November, I had earned about $10,000 in the month of November. Here's some payments from Cluely. So these are wires. I think these are from November and December, but you can imagine $3,000 bi-weekly and another almost $3,000, $4,000 bi-weekly wire. So if you add that up, that equals out to about $10,000 among the other companies I was working for. And the videos I was making were pretty simple, cracking 100 freshmen by the end of the semester. Does gooning actually make you smarter? Top 5 worst high schools in Richmond. Obviously pretty simple stuff. I don't think this is a very complicated thing to do. Next, let's talk about mindset. So this is a real business. You don't want to side hustle this. You can, but you're not going to make a lot of money. If you treat this like a McDonald's shift, it'll pay you like a McDonald's shift. But if you treat it like a startup, like an actual business, it'll pay you like an actual business. So what do I mean by this? Well, the biggest roadblock that people face is oh, I don't really want to put effort because my friends will think I'm cringe, or this is actually not that important of a thing. Well, I promise you it's not. This can make you a lot of money, and you should not worry about what your friends think. And the reason why I say this is because most of your friends that make fun of you, or your colleagues from work, they don't actually make that much money, or they're dissatisfied with their jobs. The people that made fun of me when I first started, they were making $15, $20 an hour. And I make, at the very bare minimum, $100 an hour. And that's not to say that money is the most important thing in the world. It's just that, look at the people that are criticizing you. They're probably a bit dissatisfied with the way they are living. So, when they see someone else challenging the way they live, and it makes them feel small, it makes them realize that they could be doing more. So how do they take it out? Well, they laugh at you. And how do you feel, how do you deal with this fear of posting? Well, the simplest way that a lot of my students deal with this is they block their close friends from seeing their content. I didn't do this because I realized this is the only way to make a lot of money in 2026, at least very simply. Also, you can tell your friends that you make money from this. When I first started, maybe my parents didn't really believe in me. They were like, why are you embarrassing yourself? This will affect your future job prospects, whatever. But once I told them that I made $3,000 in 2 weeks, they were like, okay. This is a real job. Also, you can reframe it as being an actor. Do you think Eleven or Millie Bobby Brown was embarrassed for shaving your head? I mean, maybe, but she also made $250,000 per episode. And again, that's not to say money is everything, but you have an opportunity. When you have an opportunity to do something really great that will benefit you in the long run, these small things that might make you uncomfortable, I mean, you kind of have to ignore them. Also, I promise you, the embarrassment disappears the second the money hits your account. For me, it was the second wire from Cluely. I think it was $3,000 or so. I don't want to lie exactly. It was probably 2,500, maybe 3,000. Yeah, I did not care after that point. I was like, yeah, you know what? Fine. My friends can laugh at me. People think I'm some idiot making videos on the internet. But I made $3,000 in 2 weeks, and all I did was literally work 2 hours a day. What other job allows you to do that? Also, you can frame this as a marketing career. You're not just making TikToks. You're actually a growth marketer for tech companies. On my LinkedIn, I mentioned that, I don't really use LinkedIn, but I'm yeah, I did growth for this company and I generated them this many views. Also, the skills you're developing, it's not just making TikToks. You understand content creation. You understand copywriting. You understand algorithms, you understand sales, you understand brand partnerships. There's so many things that you learn from UGC that can be applicable to other things. Like if you don't want to do content for the rest of your life, then that's fine, but these skills carry over to like so many other jobs. So just consider that. Also, when we're talking about like money, like if you actually want a long-term position that's not just like kind of, freelancing, I was offered about $10,000 a month to manage the claims campaign. Right now they're paying me $3,000 just kind of part-time, but I was offered 10 grand like a month. That's a six-figure job salary, right? But I said no, because I know that investing in myself is a lot better in the long run. But yeah, just remember that. Also, this is a skill. Every video you make, every deal you land, every skill sharpens it. Like it pays dividend for years. Like if you're working at McDonald's, even you've been working there for like 10 years, sure you can serve fries maybe like 10 seconds faster than your colleague that started just a couple weeks ago, but you get paid the same. But kind of like with high ticket sales or sales, if you're familiar with that, you make more money the better you are. Like this is like a pretty simple fact, right? So the people that make more money than you, that make like 10K a month or more, they didn't start, like they just started earlier before you and they didn't quit, and they're just better creators than you. They're more consistent. And because of this, coachability is everything. The fastest way to improve is to get a coach or at least talk to someone who's better than you so you can accept their feedback and apply it immediately, and always ask for more feedback. Like you can always become a better creator. I am always a better creator. I'm always trying to like be a better creator. And we can look at a case study. So this is more like a case study on like mindset and not being kind of dissuaded when things are not going your way. So a few weeks ago, I was hired by this company to do UGC for them. They had kind of no material on their stuff because they're a pretty new company. They only had a couple thousand users. And for the first 2 weeks, I was making content for them. I wasn't getting many views. You can see this like 4,000, 2,000, 2,000. I was like, oh man, I'm not a good UGC creator. I can't make this company go viral. But then bang, 10, 100,000 views. And from that point on, I'm like, okay, yeah. So I kind of cracked the code for this company, and it's been barbecue chicken since that day. Next, let's talk about how do you actually film your UGC video. Now this kind of section is more applicable to beginners. So if you're a beginner, you have to film UGC videos for your portfolio when you're starting out, when you're applying to that first company. So how do you do this? Well, you only need 3 things. You literally only need 3 things. You need a phone, you need a window, and you need TikTok or CapCut. CapCut costs, I think it's like $30 a month. So if you don't want to spend that much right off the bat, then whatever, that's fine. But you can totally use TikTok. So generally, the method that you want to do when you're applying to a company on SideShift or Home from College or like their custom like application link is you want to search the brand names on TikTok. You want to find their best performing video, and you just want to copy it. And how do you do this? Well, let's say I find this video. It's like the what's your GPA videos, what's your GPA, what's your GPA. I would just look at that video, I would copy it, and boom, that's the video you send in for your application. And how do you record the video? Well, this is like more applicable to talking head. Let's say you find a video that you want to recreate. You want to play the reference video on your laptop or your iPad, and you want to record yourself saying the exact same thing on your phone. And the reason why I say this is that if you just write the video down, you will say the same words, but you will not say the same. Like a lot of UGC videos go viral for very small things. Like maybe the person talking is like, kind of excited, or they're kind of sad, or they're like a bit mellow, right? You want to recreate all these like small intonations that the person's making and their facial expressions, because these little details make or break video. And this should really only take you 10 to 30 minutes max. Also, let's look at some filming fundamentals. So what you want to do is you want to face a window for natural light. That should be your entire lighting setup when you're a beginner. A lot of people have limiting beliefs. They're like, oh yeah, I need this expensive light, yada yada. But no, you don't. You just need either a really strong light or you need a window. Also, you should have your head your eyes centered above the midline. And you also want to be in a location that makes sense for the content that you're making. And you want to have your title at the top. And your personality and emotion in the video actually makes the video original, even if you copy the script. So let's just kind of dissect this video. So we see my titles at the top. My face is well lit. It's like hitting it pretty well. My eyes are kind of in the middle of the screen. And this is a very important part that most people miss out when they're beginner, but you have to remember the background. When a viewer is scrolling, they don't really trust you, right? So when they read this hook, they're like top 3 worst classes to have first period. What does that make you think of? For me, it makes me think of, okay, this high school or college student is gonna give me his opinion on the top 3 worst classes to have first period. But let's say I was like a 60-year-old grandma. They're like, okay, this guy does not really know what they're talking about, because how would a grandma be in high school or university? So because of this, I have to be the age of a high school or a college student. Also, my background has to make the person think of an office or a school. So I intentionally went to a part of my house which has like this printer in the background. I have a 3D printer as well. You can't really see it, but it looks like a library. Like the person thinks, oh wow, okay, this guy's in a library and he's gonna tell me about the top 3 worst classes that first period. So make yourself like believable. And here's like a basic kind of breakdown of like how you should position yourself. So text hook up the top. You want your eyes in the middle and you want your captions at the bottom. Also some other basic editing tips. You want to cut out any dead spaces over 0.2 seconds. Make your captions in classic font. Don't over edit the videos. Like I know you want to add like all these crazy effects, but you want to make the video look authentic. And 80% of the time, all you need is cuts and captions. And yeah, make sure to use the classic font because viewers kind of like subconsciously associate the classic font with like a good video because it's just the most commonly used font on TikTok and Instagram. Also, let's look at a script framework. So this isn't like that important if you're copying a video, but it's something to keep in mind. So the first thing that a viewer hears is the hook. The hook is the most important thing. Like you could have the best video in the world, but if the person doesn't watch, the first 2 seconds, they're not going to see the remaining 30. So let's just like kind of look at this video right here. Here are the top 3 brokest majors at McGill. This is the hook. What does this make the viewer think about? Okay, they're gonna be like, okay, wow, what are the top 3 brokest majors at McGill? What could it be? Is my major on the list? Are one of my friends' majors on the list? Hang on, what's the worst major at McGill? So generally speaking, in these top 3 or top 5 videos, everyone wants to know what the worst major is. So because of this, your retention is gonna be really high. So between like kind of the payoff and the hook, you want to have like a good body, a good like meat, right? So I talk about fine arts, philosophy, and then I should have a product demo. Actually, in this case, I should have my call to action or my CTA before number 1 because the viewer will actually like literally watch through the entire video just to see the number 1, right? So they'll like watch the ad. They're like willing to watch the ad just to see what you put as number 1. And here's some like 3 big mistakes that I see that beginners make. Number 1 is bad lighting. So lighting is really important, really crucial because if the viewer can't see your face, like that's not really good. Also, I'll add on to bad lighting is you want to have at least decent quality. Like you don't need a microphone per se, but having a mic is really, really helpful because good audio can make or break a video. Also over editing, just keep it raw and authentic. Like, you could do a crazy like visual effect like this and have all these like text effects on the screen. But the thing is, I would rather you make 10 videos of you just talking head and spend 10 minutes editing each one than make 1 video and spend 2 hours editing it. Because as a beginner, you want to really practice the reps. You want to like know how to talk in front of a camera, how to enunciate your voice, how to like change your facial expression, that kind of thing. Also, let's look at analysis paralysis. So as a beginner, you obviously you want to make a perfect video, but at the end of the day, like you're a beginner, like you can't expect a perfect video. So just make a genuine video, put your best into it. But yeah, like you can't make a perfect video, first video you make. Section 4, building your portfolio. So what is your portfolio? Your portfolio is your resume as a creator. It shows brands who you are, what you do, and what kind of content you make. Transparently, in my opinion, I don't think your portfolio is super important as an organic tech UGC creator after the first like maybe 1 or 2 months of doing it. Because the nature of organic tech UGC is that you have pages that show how good you are as a creator. Like you could write that like on your portfolio that you understand virality. But if the brand searches up your name and your best account has 100 followers, they're gonna be a bit skeptical. But if they search up your name and they see 10, like 5 accounts, over 1,000 followers each with a couple million views, they'll believe you. And generally speaking, with organic tech UGC, brands look for creators. That's the thing. So yeah, I wouldn't really worry about this that much, but we can just kind of go over this anyways. What you want is your name, your title, your niches, a clean photo of you, your best UGC videos, some contact information, don't miss that contact information, and a credibility section. So let's just kind of break down my portfolio. Firstly, we have myself. I have a photo of me, where I'm based, what I do. I'm a tech and lifestyle creator. I have a link to my YouTube and my Instagram and my email. I have some partnerships that I've done. I've worked with Cluely, JobRight, Instinct, MathOS, Traded, a bunch of other brands that I don't even have listed. And then I talk about kind of myself. So this is really, really, really important because you mentioned how many views you generated, how many followers you have, and also I put some kind of social proof, be like, yeah, I have like one account over 1,000, another account over 4,000, another account over like 1,700. I didn't even put this on here, but I have like another account over 1,500. And my YouTube is at like almost 4,000. So it's a good way to kind of show people that you know what you're talking about. I also have a photo of myself. Then I would have some kind of example videos of yourself. This is my personal brand. I have 5 million views. I think it's a bit more now. I have a storytelling video, which kind of shows my ability to tell a compelling story. I have a skit that's well edited. This kind of shows my ability to make that. I also have another skit that did pretty well. I don't have the views show, but this one's at like 20,000. This one's at like 1 million views, I think, or maybe 500,000. This one's at 100,000. And this is like another video that I filmed that shows like my ability to make like cinematic style videos. You know, as a beginner, you won't have all these videos set up, but it's nice to show like different aspects of yourself and how you can work with a brand, what kind of abilities you have as a creator. Next, let's look at Cluely. So I talk about like kind of the videos I've made, how many views I've generated, an account I'm running. It's like 1,700 followers. I actually haven't been posting for them for like the last couple months, but yeah. Also connect with me, have the email. You really want that big, large CTA, so brands are like, you know, they can very frictionlessly just grab your email and email you. Next, I'll talk about the apply and ad method. So this is gonna be a bit more relevant in the next section, but when you're applying to jobs with your portfolio, generally what you wanna do to like populate it, like let's say you have a brand new portfolio, completely fresh, but there's nothing here. What you wanna do is you wanna apply to the company, you wanna film a custom video for that company, and then add that video to your portfolio and repeat that process. So the reason why this works is that, you know, you can apply to 10 companies, even if none of them take you, you'll have a fully populated portfolio. But the odds are, you know, by the 8th or 9th company, they're gonna see all these, you know, great example videos that are improving, you know, as you film each one. So they'll have to basically take you into their program. Next, outreach and landing deals. So landing your first deal is simple, but it can be overwhelming as a beginner. And the two biggest barriers that I see generally like with students and people that like I help out, it's they're scared to post or they don't know where to start and find deals. But the way that I like to think about this is that your first deal can guarantee you $1,500 a month. Isn't that crazy? What other job will pay you $1,500 a month and all you have to do is work 30 minutes a day? But yeah, let's kind of break down some ways that you can find companies. So the first two ways are using SideShift and Home from College. So I would not really use these companies after your first month, because at that point you should have referrals or you should like already be in programs that pay you pretty well. But the reason why I like kind of recommend SideShift and Home from College, that they're beginner friendly, there's lots of deals, but there is unfortunately like lower pay. Also like Home from College, like it's retainer focus. They make you like post 20 or 30 videos a month, but it's good for consistency. Generally, when you're looking on these platforms, you want to look for companies that pay $20 per video and at least a $1 CPM, which means like cost per mil, or $1 per 1,000 views, and you want coaching included. How do you apply properly? Well, fill out their form and film a custom video for the company so they see that you're committed to actually working with them. And the reason why I don't really recommend people work with these, like with SideShift and Home from College after the first couple weeks, is because at that point you should already have a network of people that can like refer you to actually high-paying companies. Next, let's talk about the Sasha method. So this is a method that nobody really talks about in the space, and I named it after my younger brother who used it to hit his first 3K month at 14. So he like literally did this, and I think within a month or even like less, he hit his first 3K month at 14, mind you. So like this can literally work for anyone. So what you want to do is you want to open Instagram on a brand new account. You want to scroll until all the videos in your feed are UGC videos. You know, whether they're study apps, prediction markets, or random tech videos. And the reason why you do this is that you want to train your algorithm to only show you UGC videos. And why do you do this? Well, it's because a lot of programs actually don't list themselves on SideShift or Reddit or, you know, Home from College. They hire through LinkedIn, X, and their network. And the Sasha method finds these like kind of hidden programs that pay a lot more. And why do I say this? Well, it's because I've been to San Francisco, I've spoken to app founders, and I know how much like, you know, they need UGC creators. But the thing is, you know, an app founder doesn't necessarily know about SideShift, right? So the way that they hire creators is they just go on X, or like they ask their friends like, yo, bro, do you know any like creators who are willing to work for like this amount of money? So yeah, what do you do when you like are running, like kind of using this method? So let's say you find an account, like it's like a turbo account, or maybe like a more niche company, some sort of like AI tool. And what you should do is you should message the account. You're like, hey bro, I noticed you're doing UGC for this company. How is it? Like kind of make some small talk. They're gonna hit you back, and they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. They pay pretty well. I like the coaching. You're gonna be like, oh, okay, sick. I'm just wondering, are you guys hiring? And generally, they're gonna say yes, because all of these creators have referral links and they wanna refer people to these programs. The reason being is because they get like a small kickback for referring people to the UGC program. Next, let's talk about referrals. So referrals are the most overpowered way to get a deal. And this applies to basically getting a job in the real world. Knowing someone is always better than just kind of cold applying. So a referral is actually how I hit my first 10K month within 45 days of starting UGC. I had an intern or kind of a growth person from Cluely hit me up, and they were like, yo bro, I love your page. I've been following you for a bit. Can I refer you to this program? And it was kind of like, that's the way that I got this amazing opportunity. Also, if you don't know anyone, you can proactively look out for people who do know people. So you can ask people in your network who are doing UGC deals, or potentially if you have an app founder that you know, or someone in the tech space, they might be able to refer you. There's also public and private communities. So what you can do is kind of search up UGC on Reddit and look for these communities that pop up and ask them to refer you. Also, let's refer back to the apply and ad method. So when you're using any of these sort of platforms or referrals or the Sasha method, just use this triangle. When you're applying on SideShift, apply, make a custom video, add that video to your portfolio, and just repeat that process. Because you want a full portfolio as a beginner. You want people to believe you when you say yeah, I know how to make a good video. Also, what do you expect during the recruitment process? So the reason why I'm qualified to speak about this is because I've been recruited multiple times as a UGC creator, and I've recruited people multiple times as a coach and as an onboarder. So what do you expect? Well, generally speaking, people reach out to you. If you're applying, it takes anywhere from 0 days to 2 weeks, but usually it's 2 to 4 days. And the reason why I say this is because if you're applying to a company like Manus is doing UGC right now. They're a huge company. They're owned by Meta, so it takes time for them to onboard you because they have 200 creators. But if you're applying to a small tech startup, they're probably gonna onboard you within the next couple of days, potentially even within the day or within the next day. Also, there's a trial period. So typically companies pay you a bit less as a trial creator. But what you have to do is just get usually they make you hit 10,000 views within the first 2 weeks. But once you hit that, you're in their program. And also, not just the views, you should be a consistent and a nice creator. So hit up the coaches, be like, hey, how can I improve? Hey, do you want to hop on a call? Can you coach me up a bit? So that's kind of the way to pass that trial period. Also, communicating with growth teams and program managers. Generally speaking, these people are between the age of 20 and 30. So, just talk to them they're your colleagues or your friends. I wouldn't be too stressed about it because, they're just doing their job. They're pretty chill. Yeah. And what do you do when you get rejected? Well, volume solves everything. Just improve your videos, try again. You can honestly reapply to the program in a week or two because in those 2 weeks, you could improve so much as a creator because, UGC creators they rapidly improve, right? Also, let's talk about volume. So in your first 2 weeks, you might send out 50 applications before landing one deal. That's if someone's not referring you. If you talk to me, I might be able to refer you. I've had some of my students go from 0 to 4K a month literally within a day because I can just refer them to 2 or 3 programs. But if you don't have someone to refer you, just keep applying and I'm sure someone will accept you. And generally the math is more applications, it's more chances. And if you send out custom videos, there's no way they won't take you because most people don't do custom videos. Section 6, how do you actually get views and go viral? Well, going viral isn't random. There's a system. And generally the 3 ways that people tell you to go viral is they ask you to study what's already working in your niche, look at top performing videos from the brand you work with, and save viral formats and just recreate them with your personality. So I'll talk about these more in depth, but let's just kind of dissect what a video looks like, what a viral video looks like. Let's talk about the hook. The hook is the most important part of the video. If you can't stop a person scroll, the rest of your video is pointless. The hook should create a curiosity gap, a shock, or some sort of relatability. So here's an example of a really good hook. This one only has 25,000 views, but it's because it's kind of niche. I'm just targeting my city. Let's look at this hook. So your .edu email is a free money glitch. Why is this a good hook? Well, it's because the person is thinking, wait, my .edu email is a free money glitch? How? And they're gonna be waiting until the end when you explain how you can actually make money from your .edu email. Also, for a hook, it's not just the text, it's the visuals and the way you're speaking. So I'm like an energetic kind of like university student. I have this background which kind of makes me look like I'm in a library, that like convinces people that I'm actually a university student. Next, let's talk about remixing versus copying. So copying line for line is how you start as a creator. You know, there's nothing wrong with copying a video, but if you want to be a good UGC creator, you should remix it. Take the format and kind of add your own twist, add your own personality. We can kind of look at this video. So this video is top 5 universities, top 5 Canadian universities with the dumbest students. And then I think he copied me originally, but whatever. You can see that like these are very similar hooks, but we do things differently. Mine gets a bit more views. And the reason why, I think it's because he's targeting Canadian students and Canadian university students. So like the TAM, the total addressable market, is like smaller. That's like another concept that you can like become more familiar with as you kind of do more content. But there's like only so many Canadian university students, but people who are in high school, university, and have worst classes to have first period, that's a much bigger total addressable market. But yeah, so you can copy someone and get a lot of views. Also, sometimes you can copy someone and not get a lot of views. So I'll give you an example. So I copied this video. I think I got like maybe 5,000 or 10,000 views, which isn't awful. But the reason why this is not good is because, or it doesn't work, is because she's an ABG and she's cutting fruit and I'm like a guy and I'm cutting salami. But I think the biggest part is that she's like a woman. The nature with content is that there are some like intangible factors. So there are some videos that are just like really, really difficult to copy because you just don't like you can't copy a video of a woman talking about like why women's sports are bad. Like that'll just come off completely differently as if a guy was talking about why women's sports are bad. Or that's probably like not really the best example, but like there's just something you just cannot copy. Understanding the algorithm. So watch time is king. If people watch the entire video, it'll get pushed out. Comments and shares matter a lot more than likes. So if you can like initiate people to comment or share the video, that'll really help the reach of your video. Also, those like first 2 seconds of the video really determine everything. Also, you know, people ask me, when should I post my video? What's an optimal posting time? Well, generally speaking for UGC, posting time matters a lot less than actually the content quality. Like just make a good video and it'll probably go viral. We can look at this video right here. So in this video, I break down how much money I made in November. You can see, I think I got about like 15 or 20,000 views. Sort of the curve, it goes down to about 40%. And it goes down slowly. And I think around here, I mention how much money I make in the month. So it drops down very dramatically. And that's just kind of something you can notice, you know, when you make a video and you maybe have like a bad part of the video or your CTA, your call to action for the product plug is not good, the retention will just kind of sharply decrease. So, you know, studying your analytics is important. So you know when the video performs and why it performs, where people drop off, like what hooks don't work and work. So obviously people want to hear how much money I make, but as soon as they hear how much money I make, they'll click off the video. So if I want to have like a viral video, I should like keep that until the end. Also consistency and virality. So one viral video is luck, but consistent good content is a business. So I would not like want to just be like throwing out random shots that suck and hope that one of them goes viral. I want to have some sort of system for approaching content, and I want people to like, I want to like know why a video goes viral and how I can replicate that. So to like maximize this, I would post every single day and scale to like 2 or 3 times a day per company when you get better. Also, your first few months are the hardest. Like it is pretty tough when you're a beginner because your videos aren't that great. You're not really hitting view bonuses. Your friends are probably like what is this guy doing? But like this photo, that first viral video or like that first viral format or series, that'll like really take your channel off and you'll make a lot of money. You'll realize that this is like an actual business. And we can just do a quick viral video analysis. So this video got 150,000 views and we can just watch why.
For this?
So this video, it's promoting an AI like job tool, and I'm making a skit with like ChatGPT, and the boss, in this case ChatGPT, is telling me to come in early at like 6:30, or like at 7 or something like that. But yeah, let's just watch the video.
Why weren't you online at 7 this morning?
Because it's 8:55 and my work starts at 9.
So what does this make me think about? So this makes me think about like, okay, this guy is making this, his boss is making him come in early. And I believe this because, he kind of looks like he's at home or potentially like at a hotel. And also because it's in like an AI talking back to me, people are going to be like like they hear that hook of like the AI saying something, and they're gonna be like, okay, wait, this guy's talking to an AI, obviously. So you see, like, I love talking to ChatGPT Plus too. Also, people are gonna be like, obviously, like a bit agitated that this conversation would be illegal, right? So if you can stir up emotions in viewers, excellent way to go viral.
Right, but if your work starts at 9, don't you think you should be ready a
Oh,
bit
no
earlier?
way, no way. I work efficiently at 9. That's my schedule. I start at the time that's in my contract.
Oh, so now showing up on time means just rolling in at the exact minute you start? You were told what this job would require.
So it was like, I'm kind of rage baiting the viewers by making them watch this video. So yeah, that covers section 6, how to get views and go viral. Section 7, scaling your income. So how do you actually scale your income as a UGC creator? How do you go from 2 or 3K per month to 10K per month? Well, this is probably the most commonly asked question that I get as a coach, because people just don't understand how to progress in programs. The answer isn't just to make more videos. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. And I'll make this more clear by giving you a kind of a definition that I've sort of made. And that is, there are 3 types of programs. There's a B tier program, there's an A tier program, and there's an S tier program. As a beginner, you want to take B tier deals. And I'll elaborate a little bit more, but you want to take a B tier deal because it'll accept anyone and they'll pay a bit less. But as you progress, you'll notice that volume does not solve everything. When you're getting paid $10 per video, how do you hit 10K per month? Let's see, $10,000 per month divided by 10. You have to make 1,000 videos in a month. What? That is impossible. But let's say you're getting paid $50 per video. That's already 200 videos in a month. That's pretty doable. And also, you're averaging, let's say, $100 per video because of view bonuses. That's actually pretty realistic. All you have to do is make 100 videos in a month for 10K per month. So I hope this kind of gives you a broad level understanding, but let's actually dig into it. B tier deals. So B tier deals are deals that pay you $500 to $1,500 per month. These are deals that you can find on SideShift, Home from College, and I would kind of characterize them as your first organic deal. And the goal with these deals is not to make money. I would never tell someone, take a deal from SideShift, like one of these really bad deals from SideShift, to make money. The goal is you want to build your portfolio and get proof. Making $5 per video, $10 per video is obviously enticing when you're brand new. But if you want to do this like medium term or long term, you don't want to get burnt out. So you want to be taking deals that actually respect your time and pay you what you're worth. And why am I qualified to speak about this? Well, I've worked with app founders and just founders in general who hire UGC creators for pennies on the dollar. Like I see them paying their creators $10 per video, which isn't bad. But if you want to actually make consistent income from UGC, you need to have a little bit more than $10 per video. Let's kind of dissect these deals. So locked in AI UGC, $10 per post. I would not take this because, $10 per post is not that much money. AI app UGC creator. I think this one asks you to post 60 times per month. Again, not terrible if you're a brand new creator, but $900 divided by 60, that's $15 per video. And, I wouldn't anticipate you to get a lot of view bonuses, as a brand new creator. Adverse, $50 one time. That's probably a paid ad. That is not very good. For me, if I'm doing a paid ad, I got to be making at least, at the very, very bare minimum, $150. But that's like, if I was a beginner, I'd probably charge a lot more than that now. So yeah, $50 is just not ideal. Our tech, they actually do pay pretty well. I would say this is like an A tier deal or an S tier deal. Oomph app, $400 per month. Let's say at the bare minimum, they're making you post, once per day. That's 30 times per day. That's $13 per month, $13 per video. That's not ideal. Same thing with this one. This is probably like $15 per video, not the best. But let's look at an A tier deal. So I'm actually working for like an A tier deal. I would say it's JobRight. So they pay me about $30 per video, and also they have pretty enticing view bonuses. They start at about a $2.50 CPM, and they kind of regress down to about a $1 CPM, and it's like it's a tier model, so it's not like it's not like that precise. But yeah, the view bonuses are pretty good for JobRight. And the thing is, with these A tier deals, you need a solid portfolio. Again, like our tech, they would not take you unless you had a decent portfolio that showed that you have like a somewhat of an understanding. Or another way to get these A tier deals is someone or you get a referral. But again, that's not like an option for everyone. Now let's look at S tier deals. So S tier deals, these are deals that I always recommend you take, because if you're an average or like maybe a above average creator, it's very realistic to make 5 or even 10K per month. These are companies like Cluely, Whisperflow, Polymarket, Calsheet. I think Calsheet pays $100 per video. Polymarket, I think, is between $20 to $40 per video. And if you're like one of the top creators, I think they pay like $100 per video base. But like, obviously as a beginner, you can't really expect that. The thing is, these programs are selective. They don't like really accept everyone. But if you're good, the money is insane. One thing I would consider in these programs is that for these S tier programs, as a coach, you don't want to just be like enticing creators with money, because that's not like the best way to do it. You also want to sell the community aspect. So if you're in like 5 S tier programs, it could get very, very overwhelming, not only because of the volume of the videos that you have to make, but also because they typically make you do one-on-one calls with coaching and like group calls like that. Again, not a bad thing if you're in like 1 or 2 of these programs, but if you're in 5 programs and you have to take, 5 one-on-ones per week and 5 group calls per week, that can get pretty hectic. But again, the money, it's a lot. And how do you actually move up, from a B tier deal to a tier deal to an S tier deal? Well, you just make better videos. That's pretty much it. And the creators that make 10K per month, I'm like a broken record here, they don't do anything different. They just make better content, and they've been doing it for longer, right? And they got referred to a program just because like they met someone and that person knew like, okay, this guy knows how to make a good video. They've been doing it for a long time. They're consistent. That's all you need. Just be consistent and make better videos every single day. Also, another thing I want to like kind of talk about is being in the right program. And this is a bit corny, but you are a product of your environment. This is so true. And this pertains not just to, to life, to university, whatever. This pertains very much to UGC. Like, let me ask you a question. Why do you take a internship, as a university student? It's not just because of the money. You take it because of the network and also like the experience, but also the environment. You want to know like kind of these people. Like, do you actually want to work at this company? And if it's a really good company, you'll probably leave that internship or co-op and be like, wow, that was a really fun experience. I'm in the right program. You want to like do more. You want to work more. You're just energized, right? So when I joined certain programs, I can just tell like, wow, this is going to be excellent, because everyone in this program, they're killers. They want to get better. And when you're in a program, like Polymarket, where everyone is averaging at the very bare minimum, like 1 or 2 million views a month, you naturally want to elevate yourself to that level. You're going to stay up, a little bit later at night, scripting videos. You're going to edit them. Like, you're going to do every single perfect cut, because you want to like maximize, like really squeeze all the views you can into the video. But when you're in like a mid program, sure, they're paying you maybe equal amounts, and maybe the coaches are like slacking off. But the thing is, like, if you're the best creator in a program, I've had this happen to me. If I'm the best creator in a program, like the top 5 creators in a big program, I'm kind of lazy. Like, I don't really want to push myself, because I'm like, yeah, I'm at the forefront of this program. Like, they're never going to cut me. So you kind of slack off. Again, not a bad thing necessarily, but if you want to really scale, you have to be honing your craft as a creator. So you should put yourself in an environment where you're constantly pushing yourself. Also, a big thing I want to mention is the network. When you're in a program like Polymarket, there's so many like cracked creators in that program that they're going to refer you to their programs that they're in, and you can refer them to them. And now you kind of have like this little network of UGC creators that you can always ask to get referred to a program with. Also, getting a coach. The fastest way to improve is to have someone give you feedback, direct feedback. That really helps if that person has been in your position. And I'll give you a personal example. So Rich and Flo, I would say he's one of the most talented UGC creators like on earth. He was, companies tried to poach him for, I can't say how much money, but it was a lot of money. But he was like, nah, I'm just gonna do my own thing. He started his own agency, and I'm working for his agency right now. And I realized, especially in that first month of working for him, my skills as a creator just got so much better, because he has so much ball knowledge, and now that knowledge has been transferred onto me. And when I'm in a coaching call with like other creators or group calls with like other programs, I kind of transfer it onto them. So again, that like network effect and the environment effect is just so important. And the reason I know that this has paid off is because the account that I started with them, like for the company I was working for with him, I got it to like 1.5K followers in a month, and I got it to 2 million views in like the first month or second month of working. Like, it's so much easier to succeed when you can surround yourself with people who are in positions that you want to be in, or they've done the things that you want to do, right? Also, negotiating higher rates. So this kind of pertains more to like these B tier and A tier deals. Although, when you're in a program like Polymarket and you're really talented, like let's say you have a personal page that's unrelated to UGC at all and has like 50,000 followers, you could definitely negotiate yourself up to like $100 base. Not unrealistic at all. But yeah, you want, like, as a beginner, you want to start low, build that credibility, and kind of negotiate from $20 per video to then $50 per video. And that performance bonus is really important. So if you're averaging consistent views, that program will not want to lose you, because you're constantly making them money. So you could definitely ask for like a little increase in CPM or increase in base. Like it's not unheard of at all. I noticed that a lot of like beginners, they think that these programs are like an actual like 9 to 5 job, like the pay set in stone, but it's not. Like you're probably like only 1 or 2 people away from the founder of the company, so you could like very easily increase your pay. Also, managing multiple programs. Again, I've kind of like, I don't want to say I've mastered this, but I definitely have a very good understanding of how to work with 2 or 3 programs and manage my time and manage my posting schedule, while being in school and, doing stuff with my friends and playing sports, that kind of thing. What I like to use is Notion. I'll drop a video on my Notion guide, but it's very easy when you pre-schedule your videos. Another kind of tidbit of ball knowledge that I will drop is I use Metricool as well. I actually schedule my videos and I have an editor. I actually hire like a local editor. He's like one of my friends. I pay him like, I think $10 per video, Canadian, so it's about like $7 US. And the reason why it works is because I can film all my videos on Sunday for one company, and I schedule them, and my editor just takes care of everything. So all I have to do is work, say, for 5 or 6 hours straight. But then I've generated, let's say 21 videos, and they're paying me $30 per video. That's $600. That's about, at the very bare minimum, like $100 an hour or so, not even including view bonuses, which is, where you can really make like those $200 or sort of $300 an hour, like kind of hypothetical amounts of money. Section 8, inbounds and personal brands. So inbounds and personal brands, your personal brand really takes you from chasing deals to actually deals chasing you. And once you're making money consistently, like you should really start documenting your journey. And the reason why I say this is because I hire creators for UGC programs. Like that's one of my jobs. And it's very easy for me to say yes to a creator who has a personal brand, even if it has like 100 or 200 followers. But let's say they've posted like 30 videos in a row. I know that this guy's like committed to content, and he will show up every single day and make good videos and always want to improve. Like it's much easier to say yes to someone like that. Also, my personal brand, even when I had like 2,000 or 3,000 followers, I hit my first 10K month just because one person reached out to me and saw one of my videos and like, hey, do you want to work for Kaluli? I said yes, and 45 days later, I hit my first 10K month. So, I'll give you some more proof. This is my like personal account right now. Every week I get hit up with these like random UGC companies or random companies looking for UGC creators. And they're like, hey, do you want to work for a company? And I have to say no, because I only want to take on so many deals, just because one of like my values as a UGC creator and as a person in general, I don't want to spread myself too thin. I always want to like deliver value and like commit to what I actually say. But that's just like something I want to do. If you want to take like 10 deals at once, you can totally do that. Like feel free. But yeah, your personal brand, it's better than any resume, any portfolio. And also it opens doors to coaching roles. Like it's very simple to get hired as a UGC coach at a program when you have 30,000 followers on an account, because the person who's running that campaign is like, okay, this guy understands content. I trust that he will run this or be a coach in this campaign well. Also, again, this is more like future, like long term, but as with a personal brand, it's very easy to get those like startup roles with equity as a growth person. And also, how do you actually start? Well, you don't need to be an influencer. You don't really need to like post 100 times a day. I recommend just posting once per day. Talk about like your lifestyle, maybe make some educational videos relating to UGC. And another like kind of advanced piece of knowledge I'll drop right now is you want to think about top and bottom funnel content. And people usually use this term, when they're talking about like, info products, or they're talking about like an actual like business they're running. But think about the people that watch your videos. When you have 100 followers, if you make a video talking about how like, here's how I delivered this brand 1 million views, a person who is likely to see that video is actually a UGC like coach who's hiring for their program, or maybe like an app founder who's hiring for their program. So just kind of think about the types of videos you make and the kind of people that you want to attract to your page, because this is how you like literally like you make a video on your personal page and you're basically calling out people to hire you. Like, isn't that insane? And they come into you warm. So it's basically like a guaranteed job, right? And what do you post on your page? Well, just document your UGC journey. I always recommend, set a goal to hit like, 10K per month, or set a goal to make like a million views in a month, something like that. Share your earnings, teach what you've learned. This is again another way to attract UGC coaches and app founders, and also show your personality. People don't just want to follow you. Again, this is like more like pertaining to actual personal branding, but it does very much apply to UGC as well. Also, like the compounding effect, exponential growth is very real, especially in social media. Like you can run an account for a month and it gets no views, but you post one viral video and boom, you're at like 50,000 followers, right? Or maybe more realistically, like 5,000 followers. So these inbound deals like really come to you as your personal account grows. Also, let's say you join one company, one study app, and another study app is looking for creators. What are they going to do? They're going to look at their competitors and they're going to just try and poach their best creators, right? So, and then when they try and poach you, it's so easy to just be like, I'll only work for you if you double the amount of money I'm getting paid, right? So just kind of think about that. And we're gonna look at a case study. So when I first started when I first started on social media, this was summer 2025. I set a goal of hitting 5K per month from social media, and I hit that goal like, nothing was happening. I found UGC and I hit the goal literally in like 2 weeks just because of UGC. So again, you only need one person to see your video. You need like just one correct person to see your video, and boom, you're gonna hit that 10K a month super simply. All right, section 9, common problems and FAQs. So these are just kind of common things that come up when I'm talking to beginners, and I realize that they're actually preventing these these limiting beliefs are preventing beginners from actually hitting those, those 10, 5, 10K, 15K months with UGC. And the biggest one that I hear is my friends think it's cringe. And this is probably the hardest hurdle to get over. But the simplest solution is to block them or tell them you're making money. Like tell them you're an actor. I promise you that embarrassment will fade the moment the money hits your account. And if you can't like jump over this initial hurdle, and try and block people at least. Like that's the best thing. But if you can't even do that, like maybe you're just not cut out for UGC. The UGC is like not for everyone. Just how like acting is not for everyone. I'm not getting views. Not getting views. This is like very very demotivating, especially if you're a beginner. But check your warm-ups. Make sure you actually did the proper procedure that the company gave you. I'll drop another video on this to show you exactly how to warm up a good UGC account. Check your hooks. Are you actually like using good hooks, or are you just like saying stuff randomly? Saying stuff randomly doesn't like really work that well. Study what's actually working in your niche and just recreate those formats. Make sure you're cutting out dead space properly. Check on your lighting. I got rejected from a deal. That's normal. You might send out 50 applications as a beginner. Again, if someone refers you, it's much more simple to get that first deal. But 50 applications and you get rejected from all of them, like it's fine, because all you need, if you get rejected 50 times, there's probably something wrong with your application. Like I would make sure your portfolio actually looks good. You can use the template I have in my bio. But yeah, just keep applying, because you just need that one video. Once you get that one video, it's a case study and it's just a lot simpler to get deals. I'm stuck at 1 or 2K per month. You're in the wrong program. Like I mentioned before, you want to progress from these kind of B tier programs to these A and S tier programs. If you don't know where to find programs, or like no one's reaching out to you, use the Sasha method to kind of find these like undercover programs that pay a lot and don't necessarily have like the highest standards. That's the best way I can say it. Also, get a coach or someone to learn from. If you talk to someone who's been in the exact position that you want to be in, it's much easier to get to that point. Also, your content needs to improve. Like if you're making 1 or 2K per month, you either A, don't understand how to like position yourself to make more money, or B, your content just sucks. Like there's no other way around that. So just study what other creators are doing. Make sure you're always kind of improving your content. How do I handle multiple programs at once? Create a posting schedule, prioritize programs that pay the most and have the best coaching. Don't spread yourself too thin. For me, 2 to 3 programs is the sweet spot. So posting schedule, I like to use Notion, like I mentioned before. I'll drop another video on this. Also Metricool. Scheduling your videos is really a life hack, because then you can kind of like basically get done with a week's work in a day, especially if you have an editor. Also, prioritize programs that pay the most and have like the best coaching, right? I would rather work for 3 programs that pay me $3,000 a month each than work for 10 programs that pay me $1,000 a month, because managing like that many accounts is just so hectic. Also, that spreading yourself out too thin is very, very tempting as a beginner to take on every single deal you can find. But if you want to do this long-term or medium-term at least, you really gotta find some balance. Like it's okay to work a lot per day, but if you're like constantly switching between 10 accounts, that just gets so overwhelming. How do I talk to growth and recruitment people? Just be professional, responsive. And like generally the people who are recruiting you, they're between the age of 20 and 30. Like they're not like that serious. This is not like a Goldman Sachs interview. Also, if you get called on for like a meeting before like you officially get the job, generally it's not like an interview. They're just kind of aligning you. Like they want to see if you're a good fit for the program, in the sense that like you're okay, you're comfortable with posting this many videos per month, and you're comfortable with the coaching and with kind of like the style of content you want to make. So yeah, don't stress too much when you're talking to these growth and kind of recruitment people. Section 10, roadmap. I want to give you an exact, concrete, step-by-step way to hit your first 10K month within 90 days. If you follow this, there's literally no way that you will not hit 10K per month in 90 days. So here's exactly what I would do to hit this 10K month. Week 1. This is assuming you're starting from scratch and you're willing to work a good amount of hours per week. Week 1, create a personal brand account and just document day to day. Create a 10K per month series, or create some sort of series so people like naturally want to come to you. Create a portfolio. Use the apply and add method to populate it. You want to have a full portfolio ASAP. Next, follow top UGC accounts, app founders, UGC agencies, and owners. Also look for UGC communities. You want people who are actively recruiting UGC creators to have an eye on you, like so they can kind of reach out to you either immediately or like maybe in a week or two when like they kind of feel you're ready. Also the Sasha method. If you find these programs that are like maybe less rigorous with like their guidelines, they're willing to hire you if you can say the right things. Again, I'm not saying you should like scam programs. It's just some companies are willing to hire less qualified creators because they don't really want to spend that much effort looking for like the best of the best. Even though maybe that's not the best way to approach a program, but that's just how they do it. Week 2 to 4, land your first gig. So by this time, you should have at least one deal that's paying you, anywhere from $1,000 a month to like $3,000 a month, and just focus on creating the best content possible. It's kind of ironic, don't focus on the money necessarily, just focus on making the best videos so that way other brands know about your existence and they're willing to hire you as well. Also, continue documenting on your personal page and befriend people in these programs. And the reason why you want to friend people in these programs is because your network as a creator is really, really powerful. Like they can refer you to one of their S-tier programs maybe a couple weeks down the line. Weeks 4 to 8, you should have ended off month 1 with a minimum of 1 to 3K in earnings. You should have become a better creator who understands viral formats. Ideally, you're in 2 or 3 programs at this point that pay decently well and have good coaching. Now weeks 8 to 12, you should end off month 2, right, with a minimum of 3 to 6K. Again, in this month, you should really be focusing on kind of scaling, joining the right programs, and positioning yourself to make that 10K month by month 3. You should really understand virality, and at this point, you should be able to basically be a coach of a program or lead a program of your own. You should also have a strong network of people who you work with or who can refer you to another program. So basically, by week 12, if you follow this very simple framework, you should be making 8 to 10K per month. You should have a network of creators you know. You should understand virality, and you should know how to find and get hired by programs. And again, the reason I know this works is because I did this, except I did it basically in 45 days. But also my little brother, I'd say he's kind of on maybe week 6. He's making about 4K per month, I think maybe 3K at 14, right? Like how is that even possible? Most 14-year-olds are not making that amount of money. So yeah, just really follow this framework and it'll be impossible to not hit your first